There's something weird about the male brain. Very weird. A man can be intelligent, successful, well-dressed, completely in control of his emotions, until Shoddy walks by with premium suspension physics. Then suddenly, heart starts racing, IQ drops, focus disappears, critical thinking evaporates, gone, just like that. Which raises a disturbing question. Why? Why are curves so powerful? What exactly is the male brain reacting to? And why does it happen so fast? Well, the truth is actually way more interesting than you think, because the answer starts hundreds of thousands of years ago with cavemen. Of course it does. But before we scientifically analyze humanity's greatest distraction, do me a favor, hit that beautiful curvy subscribe button. It deserves some love too. Chapter 1. Have you ever noticed something weird? Around the world, millions of women spend billions of dollars every year trying to make certain parts of their bodies bigger. Lip fillers, breast implants, BBLs, waist trainers, push-up bras, leggings engineered by NASA, all chasing the exact same illusion: more curves. And it's not just cosmetic surgery. Scroll through Instagram for 5 minutes. Celebrity ads, fitness influencers, fashion brands, movies, music videos. Everywhere you look, curves are being advertised like they're a cheat code. Which raises another question. If millions of people from different countries, cultures, and backgrounds keep arriving at similar beauty trends, are they all just copying each other? Or is something much older pulling the strings? Chapter 2. The Stone Age Software. Picture yourself as a caveman living 100,000 years ago. There were no hospitals, no grocery stores, no police, no safety nets. Every single day was a fight to survive. If you couldn't find food, you starved. If you got injured, you probably died. And if you chose the wrong partner, your bloodline could not survive. That's the world the male brain was built in. Back then, attraction wasn't about love or romance. It was a survival strategy. The men who were naturally drawn toward women showing signs of health and fertility simply had a better chance of having children who survived long enough to have children of their own. Over thousands of generations, those tiny advantages stacked up until they became instincts. Why? Because in the Stone Age, your brain couldn't run blood tests or read medical records. It had to make incredibly important decisions using only what it could see. So over time, it learned to pay attention to physical clues that often pointed toward good health and a better chance of successful reproduction. Clear skin suggested fewer diseases. A youthful appearance usually meant higher fertility. Enough body fat meant stored energy, which was incredibly valuable in a world where food wasn't guaranteed. Pregnancy and breastfeeding demand enormous amounts of energy, so women with enough energy reserves often had better odds of carrying a baby and keeping both themselves and the child alive through harsh conditions. Of course, none of these traits guaranteed anything. Evolution doesn't deal in certainties. It deals in probabilities. If one preference gave your ancestors even a slightly better chance of passing on their genes, that tiny advantage could slowly spread through the population over thousands and thousands of generations. The same logic worked in the other direction. Women didn't evolve to dream about six-packs or perfectly styled hair. They were more likely to be attracted to men who looked capable of protecting them, finding food, solving problems, and surviving long enough to help raise children. In a world full of danger, strength, competence, and reliability weren't just attractive qualities. They could literally mean the difference between your family surviving or disappearing from history. Nature has never cared about fairness. It has never cared about feelings. It simply rewards whatever helps genes survive long enough to be passed on. And after hundreds of thousands of years, those repeated survival decisions slowly became shortcuts inside the human brain. Not conscious choices, not carefully reasoned decisions, instincts. Tiny pieces of ancient programming running quietly beneath the surface. Programming that was written in a world of caves, predators, and constant survival, but never disappeared when that world did. Because evolution works on an entirely different timeline, human civilization changed in the blink of an eye. Our brains didn't. Which brings us to the strangest part of the whole story. Chapter 3. The Ancient Brain in a Modern World. The strange part, the world around us has changed almost beyond recognition. We live in cities instead of caves. We order food with a phone instead of hunting for it. Most of us will never have to worry about starving, fighting off predators, or surviving the next winter. But evolution doesn't update the human brain overnight. It works painfully slowly. And that's why, even though the world changed, your brain is still running software written for a completely different one. A split second is all it takes. Before logic, before conscious thought, before you even realize what's happening, that ancient part of the brain has already made its first impression. It isn't asking, is she the love of my life? It's asking a much older question. Would she have helped my genes survive? And whether you like that answer or not, that's the language evolution has been speaking for hundreds of thousands of years. So the next time you see a guy completely lose his train of thought after an attractive woman walks by, don't blame him too much. For a brief moment, the caveman won. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Now you know why men act weird around females. Share this video with your friend group.